My name is Eliza. I'm 31, a registered architect, and married to Daniel for 5 years. We met in grad school. He was studying civil engineering. I always joked that we were destined to build a life together. Literally, we had our fair share of struggles. Debt, deadlines. A brief separation when his mother got sick and moved in with us. But we always found our way back. That's what love is, right? Finding your way back. At least, that's what I thought. Until my sister Hannah decided to rip that map to shreds. Hannah is 2 years younger than me. She's the kind of woman who walks into a room and draws attention without trying. Golden hair, effortless charm, and a laugh that sounds like music. She never went to college, said it wasn't for her. She bounced around jobs, waitress, nail tech, even an influencer phase that lasted exactly 2 weeks. Our parents always babied her. She's just finding herself, they'd say. Meanwhile, I was the responsible one. The planner, the fixer, the forgotten. When Daniel and I bought our first house, Hannah moved in for a few weeks while she looked for a place. That was 6 months ago. She slept till noon, used our kitchen like her own personal diner, and somehow always managed to be barefoot and mysterious whenever Daniel came home. I trusted her. Of course I did. She was my sister. Until one rainy Sunday changed everything. I had just come home from a client meeting. There were grocery bags in my arms. The kind that dig into your skin when no one helps carry them. As I stepped into the kitchen, I heard whispering. Not the kind you do when you're planning a surprise. The kind that stops abruptly when you walk in. Daniel stood by the sink. Hannah was sitting on the counter, barefoot again. She slid off quickly and mumbled something about needing a shower. Daniel avoided my eyes. I should have asked questions then. Should have followed the knot in my stomach. But I smiled. Set down the groceries, cooked dinner, and let it go, because that's what I'd been trained to do. A week later, I got a call from my mother. "Eliza," she said, her voice trembling, "I think you should sit down." I was already sitting. "Hannah's expecting." I blinked. Expecting what? There was silence, then a pause, then 5 words that made my world tilt sideways. "She says it's Daniel's baby." The phone slipped from my hand. Not dropped. Slipped, like the truth had greased my grip. I stared at the wall, at the framed photo of Daniel and me smiling in Santorini. That trip had been our reset button, our "we're finally okay" moment. And now my sister was claiming she was pregnant. With my husband's child. I didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't even curse. I just sat there, frozen, listening to my mom breathe on the other end. "You still there?" she asked. I nodded, forgetting she couldn't see me. "Yeah," I said finally. "What do you want me to do with that information?" My mother started talking. Rambling, really. Said she didn't know what to believe. Said Hannah was emotional. That she hadn't even taken a real test yet. That she just felt pregnant. I hung up without saying goodbye. When Daniel came home, I was already seated at the dining table. He looked surprised. We usually didn't eat dinner together during the week. His schedule, my projects, it never lined up. But tonight, I made time. Tonight, I needed answers. "Sit," I said, motioning to the chair across from me. He did, cautiously. Like he already knew something was wrong. "Is it about work?" he asked. I smiled. Cold, sharp. "Not mine." I folded my hands. "Hannah says she's pregnant." Daniel blinked. His eyes darted, calculating. But he kept his voice even. "She's what?" "She says it's yours." His mouth dropped open, but no words came out. I waited. 10 seconds. 15. Finally, he shook his head. No, Eliza. I swear to you. That's not true." "You're sure?" He nodded. "I would never." "She's your sister." That didn't answer the question. Daniel stood up, walked to the sink, rubbed his hands over his face like he was trying to erase it. "I didn't sleep with her," he said. "I didn't touch her." "Yeah, we've talked." "Maybe too much. She flirts. I ignore it." My chest tightened. I wanted to believe him, but something about the way he said, "maybe too much," made my skin crawl. "You think she's making it up?" I asked. He hesitated, then nodded slowly. "She's always needed attention, Eliza. You know that." Yes, I did know that. She faked asthma in 8th grade because another girl had it and got sympathy. She once claimed our cousin hit her just so she could get out of helping with dishes. Hannah didn't lie like most people. She lied like it was a talent. An art. Still, this was a different level. A dangerous one. I called her that night. No answer. I texted, "Let's talk." She replied 3 hours later, "I don't owe you anything." The next morning, my mom called again. "She's planning to keep it." "Keep what?" I asked. "The baby. She hasn't even proven she's pregnant." "She made an appointment." I closed my eyes. This wasn't real. It couldn't be. But deep down, I knew something had cracked open. And no matter how careful I was, something ugly was going to crawl out. A week later, I got a text from Hannah. It was a picture. Blurry. Grayscale. An ultrasound. She didn't say anything with it. No caption. Just the image. I stared at it for a long time. Not because I believed her, but because I didn't know what I was supposed to feel. Anger? Shock? Sadness? I felt numb. Like I was trapped in a story someone else was writing. Daniel sat beside me on the couch. He glanced at the image. "Is that real?" I didn't answer. "How far along is she?" he asked. I looked at him. Hard. "Why would you want to know?" He went quiet. That silence spoke louder than anything. Later that night, I called Hannah. She answered on the 3rd ring. Well, if it isn't Mrs. Perfect." "Hannah," I said sharply, "I want to meet." "No thanks." "In public." "I'm pregnant," she snapped. "I don't do confrontation." "You do destruction," I replied, "and I'm done letting you tear my life apart." She hung up. 3 hours later, she posted the ultrasound on Facebook. Captioned it, "Some miracles come wrapped in betrayal." My stomach dropped. The comments flooded in. "Congrats, babe. You'll be a great mom. Who's the lucky guy?" She never answered. The next morning, I was called into a meeting with a demanding client. I sat in the conference room, nodding and taking notes, pretending my life wasn't unraveling. But inside, I was shaking. No one at work knew what was going on, and I intended to keep it that way. That night, I drove to my parents' house. My mom opened the door. Her eyes were puffy. "Why are you here?" she asked, not unkindly. "I need answers," I said. "Is she actually pregnant?" "Yes." "Has she told you who the father is?" She hesitated, then looked away. "She won't say, but she hasn't denied what we assumed." I clenched my jaw. "So you're assuming it's Daniel?" "She cries every night," my mom said defensively. "She said she made a mistake, and now she's alone." I laughed bitterly. "She's not alone. She's choosing this attention." "Eliza," my mom warned, "be careful." "I am," I said. "That's why I'm doing a DNA test. As soon as that baby is born." I left before she could say more. When I got home, Daniel was waiting at the door. He looked like he hadn't slept. "She's lying," he said before I could speak. "She's doing this to destroy you, because you've always had the life she wanted." I stared at him, then whispered, "I need to know the truth. I'm telling you the truth." "No," I said. "I need proof." His shoulders slumped. He nodded. "I'll do whatever it takes." I looked him dead in the eye, then start by swearing on our marriage, that you never touched her. He hesitated. Just for a moment, but long enough to break something inside me. The next day, I called the clinic Hannah had mentioned. I asked to confirm her appointment. They couldn't give me details. Patient confidentiality. But I'm not stupid. I know how to dig. I called a friend from college, Carmen. She works as a billing assistant in the same network. I told her I needed a favor, big one. She hesitated, but I could hear the curiosity in her voice. I didn't tell her everything. Just enough. Hannah might be lying. Daniel might be innocent. But I needed facts. Carmen called me back a day later. She was seen last Thursday, she said. I swallowed. Was she alone? No, Carmen said carefully. She listed the father's name. I stopped breathing. Daniel? I asked. She paused. No, I blinked. What? The name listed was Ryan Caldwell. My mind raced. Ryan Caldwell. That name was familiar. And then I remembered. Hannah's ex. A bartender she dated on and off for a year. The one she swore was toxic but hot. The one who ghosted her after she tried to move in with him. Are you sure? I asked. Yes, Carmen said. She even gave his phone number. It's in the system. I thanked her, then sat in my car for a full hour. So Daniel wasn't listed. She hadn't even claimed him officially. But she let everyone assume. She wanted the drama. She wanted the fire. And she wanted to watch me burn. I went home and didn't say a word to Daniel. I needed to be sure. So I called Ryan, found his number on Facebook, left a voicemail, told him I was a friend of Hannah's, and that she listed him as the father of her baby. He called back 2 hours later. What the hell? That was the first thing he said. I told him what she'd said. He laughed. She told me she wasn't seeing anyone else, that the timing was impossible. And now she's saying it's mine? I could hear the anger building. I haven't seen her in 2 months, he added. She begged me to come to her baby shower next weekend. I thought it was weird. Wait, I said. She invited you? Yeah, he scoffed. Said she wanted me to meet her family. Act normal. She even offered me $100 to come for an hour. My hands started to shake. Oh my God, I whispered. Hannah wasn't just lying. She was staging. This wasn't a pregnancy. It was a production. And I was done being the extra in her twisted play. I thanked Ryan and hung up. Then I opened my laptop, searched for the baby shower invite she'd posted online. Right there, in a pink script. You're invited to celebrate Hannah and her little miracle. A miracle, huh? Let's see how miraculous things feel when her OB-GYN walks through the door. By Thursday, I had the plan in motion. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to confront. That's what she wanted. A scene. A viral moment. Tears, slapped faces, broken wine glasses. But I had something better. Silence. And the truth. I contacted the clinic where Hannah had her checkup. Didn't ask for medical records. That would be illegal. But I did ask for one thing. Her physician's name. That I got from Carmen. Dr. Leslie Green, OB-GYN. Professional, discreet, and, conveniently, someone I once worked with on a hospital design project. I reached out, told Dr. Green I had some concerns about a family member who might be using her practice to manipulate a situation. She agreed to meet. Neutral ground. Small cafe. She remembered me. Said she couldn't share patient records. Of course. I expected that. So I asked a different question. Has my sister asked for any confirmation of paternity? Dr. Green looked surprised. No? Any lab results? Sonograms she's asked to print? Just one early ultrasound. No confirmation tests, no blood panels yet. I nodded. That was enough. I asked her one last favor. Would you mind attending a baby shower this Saturday? She laughed, then frowned. I'm not sure that's appropriate. You wouldn't have to say anything medical, I interrupted. Just show up, as yourself. I think the presence of her doctor might change the tone of the party. Dr. Green sipped her coffee, then slowly nodded. Sometimes people need reminders of what's real. I sent her the invite. The next day, IRSV PED. Hannah hadn't invited me, but she posted the address online like she wanted the whole world there. A local event hall. Balloon arches. Custom cookies. It was a circus. Of course it was. I didn't tell Daniel I was going. He was quiet lately, pacing like a man waiting for a sentence to drop. I wasn't angry anymore. Just tired. I told him I needed the weekend to clear my head. He didn't argue. Saturday came fast. I dressed simply. Black slacks. Blouse. No makeup. hair pulled back. I didn't need to shine. I just needed to be there. I pulled up to the venue 5 minutes before the shower started. People were already filing in. Laughter. Pink decor. The smell of cupcakes and perfume. I spotted Dr. Green walking in behind a couple. She wore a soft blue dress. Neutral. Polite. Just another guest. Perfect. I waited by the back wall as Hannah made her entrance, wearing a skin-tight white dress that barely hinted at a bump. She rubbed her stomach dramatically. People clapped. Phones came out. Flash. Flash. She twirled and giggled. I rolled my eyes. And then Dr. Green approached her. I watched Hannah's face freeze. She wasn't expecting that. She recognized her immediately. Her smile faltered. Just for a second. And that second was worth everything. The room buzzed with energy. Hannah was the center of it all. Of course she was. A fake halo of innocence, glowing under the spotlight she made for herself. She walked table to table, accepting compliments like candy. "You're glowing. What a miracle. She's gonna be such a good mom." All while she stole glances at Dr. Green, who stood by the punch bowl, sipping quietly. Not speaking to anyone, just watching. I stood at the far edge of the room, unnoticed, unbothered, and incredibly calm. The silence in my chest felt like armor. Then I saw Ryan. Yes, Ryan, the maybe baby daddy she paid to act the part. He looked annoyed already, dressed in ripped jeans and a wrinkled t-shirt. She waved him over, hooked her arm around his and posed for a photo. He barely smiled. Someone handed her a mic. Oh, perfect. There would be speeches. "Thank you all for coming," Hannah began, voice syrupy sweet. She patted her flat stomach again. This little angel growing inside me has already taught me so much about love, forgiveness, and family. I snorted. A woman turned and glared at me. I smiled back. And though I'm choosing to raise this baby on my own, she looked dramatically at the ceiling. It's a journey I'm proud of. Not because it's easy, but because it's real. Murmurs of support. Claps. Even Ryan rolled his eyes. She wasn't done. "I won't be naming names," she said, eyes flicking around. "But some people in this room have been less than supportive." More murmurs. I could feel her gaze scan past me. "But today isn't about bitterness. It's about rebirth." She raised her glass. "To fresh starts." Then came the applause. And the tears. Real ones. Though I don't know if they were from guilt or performance. As the crowd dispersed toward the cake table, Dr. Green approached her. Calm, professional, no emotion. Just facts wrapped in kindness. I watched Hannah's face shift from surprise to panic. Their conversation was short. Too short. She nodded. Nodded again. Then suddenly walked off toward the restroom. Dr. Green stayed put. 5 minutes passed. 10. 15. No Hannah. Guests began whispering. Where'd she go? Did she leave? Is she okay? Ryan shrugged. I'm not her handler. He grabbed a cupcake and left. Finally, I stepped forward. All eyes turned to me. Some people recognized me. Some didn't. But Dr. Green gave me the smallest nod. She's not coming back out, I said. Why? Someone asked. I shrugged. Maybe because her real doctor just arrived. Gasps, confusion, more whispering. Dr. Green said nothing. She simply left, with grace. And the storm Hannah created began to collapse on itself. I left right after Dr. Green did. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't need to. Let the rumors do what they always do. Multiply. By the time I got to my car, my phone was already buzzing. First text was from my mom. Did you really send her OB to the baby shower? I didn't answer. Second one from my dad. Whatever you're doing, stop. It's cruel. Right. Because staging a pregnancy and blaming your sister's husband isn't cruel at all. Third text was from Hannah. You ruined everything. I stared at the words. Everything? Sweetheart, I hadn't even started. I drove home, half expecting Daniel to be gone. But he was there, sitting at the kitchen counter, nursing a beer. When he saw me, he stood up. You went to the shower, I nodded. And? He asked, eyes searching mine. I sent her doctor, I said calmly. She panicked and ran out. Her guests started asking questions. Ryan walked out with a cupcake and zero loyalty. Daniel sat back down, rubbed his temples. Eliza, stop, I said. Unless you're about to tell me the truth, don't say anything. He looked up. I already did. I don't believe you. He blinked. Something in him cracked. Okay, he whispered. I didn't sleep with her. But I didn't stop her either. I froze. What does that mean? He stared at the counter. She flirted. A lot. She'd walk around in towels, sit close, ask me if I thought she was pretty. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to make things worse. You mean you didn't want to admit that you liked the attention? I said coldly. He didn't deny it. I walked past him and into the bedroom. I grabbed a duffel bag. Not because I was leaving for good, but because I needed space. He didn't follow, didn't beg, didn't promise anything. As I zipped the bag, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a screenshot from a cousin who had been at the shower, a Facebook post from one of Hannah's friends. Turns out the baby might be a lie. Her own doctor showed up and she bolted. I feel gross even attending. It had 12 likes and growing, comments returning, sympathy was slipping, and the facade, cracking fast. I left the house without looking back, booked a hotel downtown for the weekend, turned my phone off, ordered room service, and sat in silence. It wasn't peace yet, but it was a start. 2 days later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to pick up. Eliza? It was Ryan. His voice was tired, angry. I just wanted to say thank you. I sat up in bed. Why? Because that was insane, he said. She tried to call me afterward, said I humiliated her. That I, quote, ruined her narrative. Narrative, I repeated. Like this was a documentary. She never told me she was pregnant, he continued. She said she thought she might be, then begged me to play along for the shower. Said it would help her get some support money. Said people respected single moms more. I felt my stomach twist. She was going to collect sympathy for a lie. She's done it before, he said bitterly. She once told an ex she had cancer to keep him from leaving. I found out months later. My blood ran cold. Even for Hannah, this was a new low. What are you going to do? I asked. Block her. Forget her. Warn others if I have to. He paused. Eliza, I'm sorry she did this to you. And your husband. No one deserves that. I thanked him, hung up, and sat in silence again. The fallout was just beginning. Facebook posts kept spreading. Someone shared the video of her speech and her quick exit. People started commenting things like, "Where's the baby bump? She looks 2 weeks pregnant, not 3 months. Why run if you're telling the truth?" By Wednesday, my mother showed up at my apartment. Unannounced. I didn't open the door at first. She knocked for a full minute. "Eliza," she finally said, voice muffled. "Please, just hear me out." I let her in. She looked exhausted. Pale. Like someone who'd just realized the storm was inside the house all along. She told us she was heartbroken, Mom whispered. She said Daniel manipulated her, that she was too scared to say no. I stared at her. You believed her. My mother's lips trembled. She had tears. I thought they were real. They always are, I said coldly. She's the only person I know who can cry during her own lie and still convince you it's your fault. My mom sat down. She won't answer anyone now. Her Facebook is gone. She left a note in the kitchen saying she needs time to heal. I laughed. Not a kind one, not even bitter, just empty. She's not healing, she's hiding, because the show ended and she got booed off stage. My mother started crying. I didn't comfort her, I just sat across from her. After a moment, she asked the question I was waiting for. Do you think she ever really thought it was Daniel's? I looked my mother in the eye. No. And that was the scariest part. My mom left without finishing her tea. She looked older, Not in the way people do with time, but in the way people do with disappointment and guilt. She had enabled Hannah for years. We all had. But this time, the lie wasn't just emotional. It wasn't harmless. It aimed to destroy. I went back home that evening. Daniel was still there. Same chair, same bottle, same silence. "I talked to Ryan," I said. "He confirmed everything." Daniel looked up, eyes bloodshot. He nodded. I figured. There was a pause. Then, quietly, "I should have told you sooner. You should have shut it down the first time she opened her mouth," I snapped. He flinched, but didn't argue. "I didn't cheat," he said, "but I let her get too close." I stared at him. That wasn't an apology. It was an explanation. A coward's one. "I need time," I said. He nodded. "I'll move out." "No." He looked up, surprised. "I will." That night, I packed again. Only this time, it wasn't a duffel bag. It was boxes. Real ones. Tape. Labels. The sound of closure. I stayed at a friend's for a week, then signed a 6-month lease on a small condo downtown. Just me. Just silence. Just peace. A week later, I got an email from Hannah. Subject line: "I want to explain." I didn't open it. I forwarded it to myself, then archived it. Sometimes closure isn't a conversation. It's a boundary you don't cross again. Another week passed. Then my dad called. I let it ring. He left a voicemail. "Eliza, I don't know what's happening anymore. Your mother's a mess. Hannah's not talking. I just wanted to hear your voice." I deleted it. I wasn't being cruel. I was protecting myself. You see, after enough lies, after enough betrayal, you stop asking people to understand you. You just start walking away. That Sunday, I saw Daniel one last time. He came to return a set of keys. We sat on opposite sides of a park bench. The spring air was crisp, quiet, honest. "I'm sorry," he said again. "I really did love you." I nodded. "I know, but love isn't always enough." He placed the key beside me. No hug, no tears, just an end. And in that moment, I realized something. My sister didn't take my marriage. She just exposed the cracks I kept ignoring. And in doing so, she accidentally gave me something I didn't know I needed. Freedom. 3 months passed. Summer came slowly. The heat made everything sticky. Except my conscience. That was finally clean. I hadn't spoken to Hannah, not since the baby shower. Her Facebook stayed gone. No texts, no calls, not even an apology wrapped in fake tears. Daniel moved out of state, took a job in Oregon. He emailed once to say he hoped I was okay. I didn't reply, not because I hated him, but because I didn't have anything left to say. Sometimes the end is quiet, not explosive, not dramatic, just still. I focused on work, on myself, redesigned 2 buildings, redecorated my apartment, and finally started therapy. The first thing my therapist said was, "Tell me who hurt you and who you let stay." I cried harder than I expected. One morning, I stopped by my parents' house, unannounced. Not to reconnect, just to return something. An old album my mom had asked for years ago. She opened the door. Her eyes were tired. Her mouth hesitated between a smile and shame. I handed her the album. She looked down, then up. "Do you hate her?" she asked softly. I thought about it. Really thought. "No," I said. "I just don't believe in her anymore." My mom looked like she might cry again. But she didn't. She nodded. That was all. I walked back to my car. As I pulled away, I saw someone across the street. On a bench. In oversized sunglasses. Hair tied up. It was Hannah. She looked smaller somehow. Not physically, but emotionally, like someone who built a house of lies, then got buried under the roof when it collapsed. She didn't see me, or maybe she did, and just looked away. Either way, that moment said everything we hadn't. No words, no apologies, no invitations to heal, just space. And in that space, I found peace. Because the truth is, she didn't ruin my life. She freed it. She peeled back the illusion. She forced me to look at the cracks I painted over. And I didn't get revenge. I didn't scream. I didn't burn bridges. I sent her doctor. I let the truth walk in quietly. And then I left. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away without lighting a match. Let the silence do the talking. Let the facts speak. Let their world collapse under the weight of their own lies. Because when someone tries to break you with fiction, let them learn that the truth doesn't need noise. It only needs the courage to stand. And that's exactly what I did. What do you think about Eliza's decision? Was she too harsh? Or was this the only way to truly protect herself? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more heartfelt stories about family.